Hi there, it's Peter Hipster King from the Hairy Game Lords, and this evening we have been playing this Tragedy Looper New Tragedies from WizKids Games. What did we think? Stay tuned to find out. So, Tragedy Looper then. This is a remake, a reskin of a game from Z-Man Games 7 or 8 years ago, I think, probably maybe even a little bit older than that, and giving it the WizKids kind of feel. They look very, very similar and play in exactly the same way. They've reskinned the rule book and I think provided a few new tragedies to work through. The idea of this game is basically you as 3 protagonists are time travelers who are going to go through a time loop that may have a different number of days, and you are going to be encountering tragedies, and your aim is to get to the end of one whole loop without the tragedies happening, and that way you win the game. But you are playing against an evil mastermind whose job it is to manipulate the characters that are on the board. There are 4 places that they can go to, and they're going to manipulate the places and manipulate the characters to try and make those tragedies happen. It could be that in the plot that you are playing, there is a serial killer, and that serial killer will kill anybody who is on their own. And if that person happens to be the key person, that's it, you're dead. If there's a murderer in the subplot that you're doing, and that murderer gets for intrigue, he kills you as protagonists, and you lose. So there are a whole heap of different ways to lose at different points in the story. That's what the mastermind's trying to do. You're trying to work out which plot you're in, which subplot you're playing as, and who the characters, they've all got special roles, which roles they're playing. And if you can work that out, you can potentially manipulate in your own way those characters to prevent the tragedies from happening, because you'll be able to work out what's going on. This is a high-end deductive game. You need to use all your deductive reasoning skills, and it is a real challenge. I really enjoyed the way it played. It's a really, really clever idea that you're given you're given quite a lot of information, but never quite enough. And then you've got the mastermind who is trying to manipulate things, and as the mastermind changes stuff, adds unease to certain characters, or puts some intrigue in a location, you start to realise, I think we might be on this plot or this subplot, and in this subplot there are these 3 characters, so I wonder which of those 3 characters. That person's been left in the room and this has happened. That means that person must be that character, so that must be this subplot. And you're starting to work out what can happen. But by the time you've worked it out, you've usually died at least a couple of times, and you've only got maybe 3 loops to try and get everything in place to try and stay alive and keep everybody who needs to be alive. Really clever game. Where I think this would work really well is in a group who plays regularly, because I think it requires a fair bit of investment. Honestly, we'll play a game once or maybe twice, and before we review. This has had 2 plays, and at the end of the review, I'm still not 100% sure what I feel about this game. It's really clever. I like what it made me do. I like the thinking and the talking that was going on around the table, so that was all positives. But it was, when I was the mastermind, I wasn't sure I was playing it right. I wasn't sure that I'd got my head quite into all the things that were going on. And then I passed the mastermind baton on to Slightly Bearded James, and kind of still trying to work out what I needed to do to work out what was going on in the game. It feels like you need to invest a good 3, 4, 5 plays in this game, but then you've played 5 out of 13 of the different stories that are available. One other thing I really liked about this game was the fact that there is potential to write your own subplots and plots and stories, and it takes you through in the sort of Masterminds book how you do that and how you create your own stories. So if you really like this game and you like this kind of game and you play with the same group regularly, this could become a really nice big, you could create your own games. How good is that? But I think to be honest, this game has probably got a relatively niche market because of the style of the game and the complexity that was in there around just how the investment you need to get your head around this game.
Slightly Bearded James, whoa my goodness. If you got a big brain and your brain is like not just this big but this big, you'll probably enjoy this game. This game is too big brain for me. Now, firstly, this is the book that shouldn't be reading through. Oh no. But it's got some of my favourite flavour text. Pete read this out as we were getting it into the game. You described the worldview, and it grabbed me. It's some of my favourite flavour text that I've ever found in a game. So well done, the team, for that, because I just found it really, really exciting and intriguing. Love the theme of this. It's basically, I don't know, a little bit like Quantum Leap meets board games meets time stories, and like there's this kind of thing of like, okay, so you're kind of stuck in this loop, and you want to get out, you want to stop the tragedy from happening, and it's just really cool, and you've got no flipping clue what's going on, and you can do one thing each day. You're really limited by what you can do. You can move people around, give people goodwill. You can, which helps you kind of like unlock their powers and stuff like that. Because, for example, the student can console the other student, help them to feel better about themselves. You can forbid intrigue. I really was finding this one interesting, especially kind of like on the receiving end when I was being the bad guy. You can block movement. There's loads of things you can do, and it is really intriguing. This game is really difficult to get into, and it might just be because I'm not smart enough for it, but wrapping your head around not just the rules but the way the game works, and like how you're supposed to decipher some really difficult logical problems, all whilst trying to learn this game, all whilst trying to kind of like I guess win, is really hard. I don't know. I think it stopped me from enjoying it as much as I wanted to. We won against Pete. It was a difficulty one tragedy, and we managed to do it quite successfully. And when I had a go myself at doing the second one, I got to look through the book. Now, firstly, they've got the second one and the third one on facing pages. Come on, guys. You can't just kind of be kind of letting whoever's doing number 2 do number 3 as well, because it's all secrets and stuff like that. But it takes you through it so step by step. As the mastermind, it could be quite hard to think of what am I going to do to achieve my goals, if for some reason evil, and how am I going to do that? How am I going to get these people into this place? How am I going to increase the intrigue in this place? How am I going to do all of these things? But it takes you through it really step by step. It says, on day 1, play these cards. On day 2, do these things. If these people are in this place at the same time, do this. And all the way through my game as Mastermind, I kept referring to the book and pretty much doing what it said. I still had no clue what I was doing. I said to the guys as we were playing, it felt like I was playing a poker game, but I just had no clue of the rules, and I would bluff in all around the place. I think this game is really clever. I think that this game, when you really boil it down, is a very, very good cat and mouse game. And if that's what you're into, then this will be right up your street.
Yeah, Martin here. This game, I absolutely loved this, actually. I am a big fan of thinking games where you have to deduct things and all that. Can't get enough of them. And the fact that it's cooperative and all against one person. Again, another tick in my box. I think just because I like thinking games, stuff that I have to plan ahead and try and get inside other people's heads, I think it's just up my street, isn't it? I think one of the things that I thought could have been a bit better is if each of the characters have their own backstories for each of the scenarios and everything, so then you can delve more into it. But no, I enjoyed it. Get involved.